Okay, by now, at this point, you will have finished your 20 bits of data. So you can see them all right here. And at this point, we're going to want to put them in order. Now, they're probably in order by the pages that you got your information from. So you can see mine are sort of organized here by in the page numbers, and you can organize them any way you want, but the easiest way to put them in chronological order, which is what we really need right now, is to renumber them. And to do that, first of all, we have to get rid of the old numbers, and to do that, the easy way of doing that is to just highlight the column with the numbers in it, and these numbers are automatic right here, so we need to get rid of these numbers, and the easy way to do that is just to hover over the top line until it turns into a down arrow. You can see that arrow. Whenever I get close to the line, it turns into an arrow. Click on it. It highlights the whole column. And if you click on the numbers, and then you click on the numbers again, the numbers disappear. And what I suggest you do is I would say use numbers 1 to 5. 1 being the beginning of the person's life, and 5 being the end of their life, and 2, 3, and 4 being somewhere in between. And you'll see in a minute what I mean by that and how I mean by that. So if I'm looking at Ibn Battuta's life, I'm going to say, okay, so how far has he traveled? That's probably going to be later in his life. So I'm going to say 4. Where did he travel? Well, that's going to be an explanation of where he traveled. So that'll be later in his life. A 4. How he went to Mecca, I know he went in the beginning of his life, so maybe, well, when he was young, so maybe a 2. Pilgrimage to Mecca, 2 again. What he was called, well, I'll put that as 1 because that's the beginning of his life. 1, his education. The length of his trip, let's see, it talks about when he left, so that would be sort of towards the beginning, so I'll say 2. His time in India would be 3. This was during his trip. People didn't believe him. That was after he got back, so I'll say 4. Final years, 5. When he began his travels, 2. I know he went to Spain later in his life, so 4. His death and grave, that's definitely a 5. It's the end of his life. Where he was born, definitely a 1. Reasons for traveling, boy, that could go anywhere. I'll probably put that maybe as a 4. I know he nearly died in India. India was about a 3 in the middle of his life. His second pilgrimage, well, pilgrimages we talked about sort of towards the beginning there, so I'm going to say 2. Black Plague was sort of in the middle, 3. He was shipwrecked, 3. Voyage to Mali towards the end of his life. The meaning of his name, that's going to be a 1. That's sort of the beginning of his life. Road to India, a 3. Recorded his travels. He did that towards the end of his life. I'm going to say a 5. He wasn't dead yet, but it was coming close. All right, so we have all of these numbers here. Now, here's where we want to sort them, and so that 1 goes before 2 and so forth, and so it goes 1 to 5. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to highlight the column again, go up here to the sort, which is an A to Z with an arrow next to it. And if you click on that, it says sort by this column, and I say OK. Now watch what happens. Everything's in more or less order. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I've done is I've essentially grouped the experiences in his life. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in order. And the easy way to do that, the very easy way to do that, is to come down here to outline. You can also go up here to view, and you can see outline up here. Either way, so I'm going to click outline. And you see these little dots? These little dots are what are going to help you to organize things, because you can just drag stuff up. So I've got 4 1s right here. And I can change them, and I can move these things to other places. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to say, okay, so where and when he was born. That probably is the first thing I want. And I don't need this column anymore, this row, so I can just go up here to where and highlight it. And notice it's the same idea. If I just click on the outside, or if I just click on this dot, I can highlight it, and Control X is cut, so now I don't need this anymore. And so I can just organize this here by going, okay, when he was born, what he was called. Many of his names should go after what he was called. So notice, see the line, how it moves? I can move this line up and down wherever I want it to go and let it go. So now I've got when and where he was born, what he was called, the meaning of his name, his education, how he went to Mecca. Okay, let's see. The length of his, okay, he began his travels. That should probably go after his education. Oops, got to click on the dot to select it. Move that up. Okay. And then let's see, he traveled to Mecca, how he got there. All right. And let's see, and this is about him leaving, so that should go right here after he began his travels. How he got there, he made 7 pilgrimage. On his second pilgrimage, he stayed for 3 years. Let's see, then I'm here in the middle. His time in India, he went to India. At one point he was almost killed and captured. Shipwrecked comes before the Black Plague, I know that. Okay. And from Mecca, he went through Turkey and around to India. So this actually goes further up here. So I can move this up. So this talks about his trip to India. So you see what I'm doing? Oops, I went too high here. It goes a little bit fast. So sometimes it's just easier to just bring it up a few and then drop it. So I'm going to put it right there. So let me just finish this up. Okay, so now I've got these all in order here again. And so all I have to do is go up here, and I'm going to again highlight this row. I don't need this row anymore, and I am going to cut it as a Control X. So there we go. So now I've got all of my data in order. And actually I don't need all of this stuff above it anymore, so I can just cut that as well. So Control X, and that stuff goes away. This is all that I really need right here.